one of the difficulties when you are blind and you want to create content on social media, in this case, YouTube, is that you don't know if you're actually showing yourself when you are doing live videos on your, yeah, without any help, without any visual help. So that is one of the challenges that I experience now that I'm doing a lot of live videos. And it also happens when I do my simple videos for YouTube or just videos for Instagram and Facebook. And another challenge is that I never know if my very simple blind makeup is okay, or if my mascara looks okay, or if my eyebrows, which are a little ruined, uh, look okay. But you know what? I'm actually proud. I'm proud of myself for actually having the courage to do it without anyone's help, anyone's side. I mean, it would be very helpful if I had someone helping me. But then I'm someone that has learned to enjoy life without much help, right? Because I don't know. I think that happened to me. It's happening more and more and more and more throughout the years. So I'm proud, and I'm proud about many things. And you know what? This is doing this video, and I kind of trying to center myself here and trying to look at the screen is a way for me to actually celebrate and contribute to the Disability Pride Month, which is July. I don't know if this is a thing here in the United States only, Disability Pride Month, um, but I'm for it. I'm always about talking about whatever we have to talk or whatever I want to talk when there is something related to the disability. So, in honor to the Disability Pride Month, July, and in honor to the American with Disabilities celebration, which is going to be on July 26th, um, I'm doing this video and I'm going to share with you my challenges, well, my experience as someone with retinitis pigmentosa, my challenges, my achievements, and my views on this whole Disability Pride um, month. It's almost 11:40 p.m. and Anna is here sitting in front of her phone without anyone in the audience. It's not easy for me to quickly glance on the screen and see if anyone has joined. Most of my subscribers are in other countries, so they're probably sleeping and resting while I do this video. But for me, there is no challenge when it comes to wanting to do something. And I'm going to share about it, right? So my name is Ana Garcia. There is a secret and mystery about my last name and my whole name. So someday you will know about it. But for now, my name is Ana, A-N-N-A, and my last name is Garcia, Garz as in zebra, Y-A. And I live here in Southern California. Uh, I was born in Mexico, in the state of Michoacan, Mexico. And I miss Mexico. I miss Michoacan a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa when I was 19. And my mom struggled with me after I was diagnosed. I get very depressed, and I want to share with you about it. How having retinitis pigmentosa, how being diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa and experiencing those nasty RP side effects or symptoms, challenges and consequences got in the way. But more than anything, I want to tell you my story about how I feel about having retinitis pigmentosa and what I have done to deal with this retinitis pigmentosa, and what are the things that have helped me with, living now with RP. First of all, I want to say that I am I have never learned how to describe all those concepts, those medical concepts and terms related to eye conditions overall, not even with RP. I just know that I have a retina disease, it's a retina degeneration, and the cells of my eyes started dying little by little, right? And by the way, my English is very simple. English is my second language. And I actually started learning English when I was a teen. So, not easy. It's easier when you learn a language when you are a kid, little, from age 1 to 7. Then you can learn many languages, but it was not my case. And that was part of my challenges, right? So RP, you start usually with night blindness, and I mean there is a lot of people that was born with retinitis pigmentosa, this ugly um, rare eye condition, and it again is a retina degeneration. And you start with night blindness, and you either start you're losing your sight like on a tunnel vision, like if you're looking through binoculars that continue closing up as you start getting, losing more sight. And I'm actually doing circles with my index and my thumb finger and placing those in front of each eye, like if I'm looking through binoculars and looking to the right, my right, and looking to the left. And when you get the tunnel vision, which was my case, that circle of the pretending looking through binoculars starts closing up, closing up, closing up, right? So the condition is called retinitis pigmentosa, and you get all those, the cells in your eye and your retina are dying, and your eyes are dying, and they you start getting all those pigments um, around the eye. But later on, you start getting pigments like in the middle of whatever side you have, right? So the cells that start dying out are the cones and rods, right? Those cells that help us see during the day, night, and help humans to see colors. And the two types again is when you start losing your sight as a tunnel vision, or you start losing your sight on the central, and you can actually see on the sides. So for patients with RP, there is people that they actually start losing their sight on the central, so they're not able to see straight ahead, but they're able to see on the side. So I'm turning my head to my left and kind of trying to look at the screen, even though I'm not able to see anything, and looking to the side. I had friends in the past who actually got RP that way, where they couldn't see on the central, but they could see on the sides. The interesting thing about that RP type, and again, I do not know as many other blind people who spend their whole life reading articles and hoping that there is cure, and they're very involved into the whole research or medical trials. I do inform myself, but I do not. I didn't want to waste time getting stuck in that way. For me, it was about learning about the blindness, experiencing the blindness out there, learning how to adapt to it, and then just start doing things that I really wanted to do, just like anybody else. I mean, at age 19, it was not easy. But this whole RP, when you start losing your sight on the central, the interesting thing about people that I have met is that they actually have done the gene exam, the genetic exam, and they have found out that they actually never had RP, retinitis pigmentosa. They call it RP for short. Uh, so if you hear me saying RP, that's how they call it for short, retinitis pigmentosa. Uh, and it is interesting that they did not, the results didn't show RP. Now there is people that I have met, several people that were diagnosed with Stargardt, this eye condition that where they can actually see, pretty. I guess they usually keep some remaining sight, which helps a lot. And they have known several people that they in the last few years they have had their eye genetic exam, and again, no Stargardt. So who knows if I have retinitis pigmentosa? No one in my family does. No one that I, no sibling, no parents, no one that we know. Maybe in the past, right? So who knows? And by the way, there is so far, as far as I know, there is more than 70 types of retinitis pigmentosa, and there is all kinds of people. Or all kinds of different levels of sight. With retinitis pigmentosa, usually you end up with light perception, which is what I have. I don't see shadows anymore, but I do have light perception. So we people with retinitis pigmentosa are very sensitive to light. Um, and pretty most of us, not all, we use um, sunglasses or how do some people call it, filters, shades, how do they call it? I always call it sunglasses. Some people use those filters in different, with different colors. I remember a friend with retinitis pigmentosa. She was about 60, lost contact with her, but she used to wear these shades that were kind of purplish because that color would help her, or so they told her when, in one of those locations where they do low vision assessment with whatever lights that are going to help you. For me, I get horrible headaches if I do not wear sunglasses, so I do wear that all the time. As soon as I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, and I found out that my chronic headaches, which by the way I still have, would get worse if I didn't wear my glasses. Or later on, when I was low vision, I would wear these little cute visors just to protect myself from the sun on the top, and I could see straight ahead or whatever I was going, right? So we people with RP are very sensitive to light. Now, how do I want to relate this besides just focusing on the whole symptoms of RP? Well, one of the first symptoms again, and sharing this is critical. It's critical. It is important because more and more we are having people with um, vision loss, and it goes, from children to teens, younger kids, teens, people that are 50, 55 and older. Nowadays, a lot of people that age in that group population are experiencing vision loss because of diabetes. And one of the top ones is macular degeneration, right? A lot of people with cataracts. And I know that a lot of people have cataracts, and usually the ones that have retinitis pigmentosa, glaucoma, and similar eye conditions, we end up with cataracts. But a lot of older people end up with cataracts, and they pretty much recover their sight when they have surgery, which nowadays is very simple. So it depends on what specialist you go to. You just don't want to go to anyone that has no experience. But a lot of people has cataracts. So one of the symptoms with retinitis pigmentosa is that you start with night blindness, right? For me, in my last year of high school, I get very confused. And one of the first symptoms that I remember more than I remember about the night blindness is that I actually was seeing a lot of flashing lights, a lot of fluorescent lights, and I still have those. I'm talking to you, and in front of me, I have a ring light to illuminate my simple video, and that creates more flashing lights. And the way I have described these lights is like when you turn on the TV, or I mean, it used to happen more years ago when there was not a lot of all this technology about, I don't know, these services like cable and great antennas and all those things that help to have kind of all those channels working the way they do. But if you're someone that you remember when you turn on the TV and there is no channel reception, right? And you see all those pixels, like kind of little, just for my totally blind subscribers who have never been able to see, it's like if you see little dots, lighted dots, just jumping everywhere on the screen. So that's what That's what I'm looking at right now. It's like once I went blind, I actually I went blind, but I actually see more light than before. I'm not able to see the world. I'm not able to see my hands. I put in my hands up. I'm not able to see my cute red top. I'm not able to see the screen that is in front of me, my iPhone on a tripod. I'm not able to see what's around. I can see the light straight ahead because I'm able to see light, but I'm not, but I'm seeing a lot of lights. And not only I started seeing all those lights, but I started having headaches, chronic headaches that were like, according to doctors, many doctors that they took me to when I was 18, it was migraine headaches that still here. They never go away. In fact, they got worse and worse throughout the years. And for many years, I had this horrible pain on my right temple, still kind of sensitive, but about probably 10 years ago, I had TMJ surgery, and that kind of improve my decrease the pain. I guess that was something else that I had on top of the whole headaches, but they still there. And when I force myself or I stressed out and I bend down to pick up something, or I eat spicy food, or I just get a little, I don't know. Last night I went for dinner with someone, and I had a margarita. It was had a lot of alcohol, and I start getting relaxed, and I start getting all those lights, a lot of lights going everywhere. So when I got home, I started seeing those fluorescent lights, and I'll describe those for you. And I'm describing this in case you hear your child, teenager, or someone in the family that is usually some kind of symptom. Keep that in mind, right? Because if it's a kid, it's a little one, a 4 year old, a 5 year old that is telling you, Mom, Mommy, I see a lot of lights. And you might think that is one of those things that happen when you come from outside and you walk into the house and into the house or inside a building. And I mean, you guys, if you're sighted, you know what I'm talking about, right? You come up from outside when after outside is bright, 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 sunny, and then you come inside a building and you have to kind of, you know, adjust your sight. Well, when you have retinitis pigmentosa, and I know that this is the case with other eye conditions, you see a lot of lights. And then I remember coming into the house and having to wait to adjust my sight. But those fluorescent lights would feel like I would feel pressure in my head. And the fluorescent lights, and I'm talking about those lights that are long, kind of elongated for my totally blind subscribers, like those long lights that are kind of long. They I start noticing those going around like on an infinitive sign, right? They will start. I'm pointing at my right at the on the side of my right eye with my nail finger. There was a light that would start kind of starting from there. You could see a little tiny light, and then it would develop like a worm. Yeah, long, and it would go around on top of my eye, and then it would go towards, kind of around my eye on the top, going across my nose, and then it would go on the top of the other eye, on my left eye, and then it would go around, come back below my left eye, go traveling towards the middle of the nose, and then it would go back, and then it would go back to the original on the right side of on my right eye. That's how an infinitive sign kind of looks like. For those who have never been able to see it visually, maybe you saw it on a tactile format, and I think that you have never seen it, but there is always someone, right? And it would go one after one, one after one. And I remember the first time I experienced that, I would rub my eyes. I'm pretending to rub my eyes with my two, hands, and they will not go away. So right now I can actually rub my eyes. I can close my eyes. I'm actually closing my eyes, and those freaking lights are there, just going everywhere, like on and off, on and off, on and off, everywhere. And there is a lot of, there is that guy who created the whole Charles Bonnet syndrome, who argues that we have hallucinations. Believe me, that those are not hallucinations. I don't see shadows. I don't see shapes of monsters or things. I only see those lights. and I see those fluorescent lights, and that's a brain thing. Well, that's for topic for another video. So then, as the RP starting to getting worse, I actually experience little those lights that I see on and off, like little dots that are lighted, but they start going around my eyes on a circle on each eye. These were not like the infinitive sign, right? These were just around each eye, and they just go around and around. It's been a while that I have not experienced that. Those are not very common or usual. Here and there, I get them. I just now that remembering and thinking about it, I don't think I have gotten those in a long time. But whenever I force myself or I have pressure, I actually experience that. And I'm not embarrassed to say this, that when you I don't know, some foods, especially spicy food for me, will do it, which is not fun, right? Now, those are symptoms that I actually got. Now, how did I when I went started experiencing that, I was very confused. I was very, very confused. And then I started not being able to see on the sides, and having, wondering why I would miss the steps, right? When I was walking, if I didn't pay attention. I mean, when we're sighted, you just quickly glance and look at the step coming up or going down. When we are blind, we quickly see it with the white cane, which people don't understand, right? Or the guide dog will help you. But when you don't know what's going on, it's very confusing, right? So you start wondering, like, what's going on? How come I was not able to see my friend who said that she waved across the street and I didn't even look, couldn't even see? Or people that kept telling me, like, oh, you're stuck up, right? Oh, you think you are so whatever, whatever, whatever. You didn't even respond my hi. And I just started thinking, like, what happened? And then, in those days, I got those headaches and I got really, really, really sick. I remember being in bed for about a month with horrible headaches, all those lights, horrible. And the doctors didn't even know what it was. They never thought about checking my eyes. Uh, I mean, I guess I don't even remember telling them that I could see those lights. I thought it was just the headache. So to fast forward, mom took me to the doctor. They diagnosed me with retinitis pigmentosa, and I have other videos that I'm going to share here. But one of the quick things that I can tell you to check for RP uh, symptom, that I'm not a doctor again, but one symptom that you can use is to have your loved one that is having these symptoms. Uh, well, first thing is to actually go to the doctor right away. Go to an ophthalmologist. Please do not go to just the doctor. Regular doctors are going to just send you to someone else, and you might have some eye pressure. A lot of people that have eye pressure and then they wait, and it is something that it could have been prevented, but no, you wait, because you don't even think that you're going to go blind. Who wants to think that we're going to go blind, right? No one. So the first thing is actually going to an ophthalmologist. um, Very often people just go to the optometrist because they think they need glasses, but I would actually honestly would go to an ophthalmologist. What's the difference between an ophthalmologist and optometrist? Well, ophthalmologists are more they have more training. They actually are the ones who can do the surgery, and they have, from my point of view, depending on the ophthalmologist, they have more knowledge about it. So I would totally go there if you're experiencing these symptoms, right? So one way that I would say for you to check and not panic, it's what my this retina specialist that diagnosed me for the first time did. As soon as I shared my symptoms, he actually turned off the light. Alexa, stop. I set up my alarm to actually check my time, because I always go way, way, way more time than what I supposed to, and what people actually like when they watch my Anna videos. So what he did, as soon as I mentioned all the symptoms that I share with you guys, he actually turned off the light. He sat in front of me. He placed his finger on in front of me. I'm actually pointing up with my index finger, and he put it in front of my nose, and he goes, You're gonna look at my finger, look at my finger. I'm gonna start moving the finger to the left and the right, and I do not want you to move your eyes. Don't follow it with your sight, right? You're just gonna keep looking straight forward and tell me when you stop seeing it. So I'm looking, pretending to look at the screen, you guys. As someone that is totally blind, I do what a lot of blind people do. And I could see that as I was going blind, because with RP, you go through the low vision for several years, and that was my case. So I went from being 20/20 vision or sight, uh, up to what I have now. I went little by little by little, right? So I'm trying to look, yeah, someone that is totally blind, I tend to look up and kind of move my head up. And they say, like, no, Anna, just look straight ahead. I'll put your head a little bit down. So I was doing that. And I have to confess that I don't like that, because we look a little odd and weird. So I'm going to try to see if I can look at the screen, place my finger in front of me, and look at the screen without moving my eyes. And then the doctor started going like this. I'm moving my finger little by little to my right, you guys, for my totally blind subscribers. And the doctor would stop the finger like around 2 o'clock, and then he moved it more, and like at 2.5, I say, I don't see it. And then he went back to the middle, he did the other eye, and then he moved it like around 1. I say, I see it. He moved it at 1:30, I go, I see it. And then he moved it at 3 o'clock, I don't see it, right? So he did the same over and over, and he turned on the light, and he goes, you have retinitis pigmentosa, Anna, but we're going to do some exams. He did exams. He did that visual field thing that they do. And in those days, I remember getting a printout of whatever he was doing, and it was a piece of paper, just a regular piece of paper, and on the page it had 2 circles. I guess kind of, um, just to describe how the RP looked like. It was 2 circles, and around the circles, you guys, it was black, and as it was kind of going into the center, it was just pigments here and there, kind of blackish, but not everything. It's like when you color and you scrabble, but there are parts that are not scrabble, right? And he gave it to me. He go like, Anna, you have 20/20 sight straight ahead, but this is how the RP is, right? You're not able to see on the sides. That's retinitis pigmentosa. You have the tunnel vision, and you're gonna go blind. There was this Brazilian specialist that was traveling in the United States, and I saw him announcing himself. I think he was on television. So I told my mom. My mom didn't know anything about this. I'm the one that has always dealt with the blindness myself, and I'm so proud about that, because I have gone far. I have come to to do it myself, and I'm proud about it. I mean, it would have been nicer back then to have the support, but my mom didn't speak English. Now she does. She does pretty good now, but she didn't speak English, and all she did was going to work, 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 take care of the husband, and I guess not even me, but whatever she had to do to get money, and so I had to do it, from the beginning. She would go with me and whatever, and feed me and whatever. And I was told, you have RP, you're going to go blind, there is no cure, and that's it. He left. Told me, like, you can go stop at the front desk, and whatever, and whatever, whatever. But never told me anything about a school for the blind, anything about rehab programs, anything about Braille Institute here in Southern California, where I live. Um, so I was lost. I was depressed. And I went into the whole denial, as many of us experience, especially when we are older. Um, and being 19, when I was diagnosed, and when I was 19, I mean, you are going through that stage where you believe you're the center of attention. I mean, you're dating, you have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, you like someone, and you're embarrassed about others seeing you all of a sudden, knowing, especially seeing you with a white cane, which I didn't even know about a white cane. I didn't know about guide dogs. I didn't know anything. Come from Mexico, where I mean, still the case. They don't even know what a guide dog is. I've been there with my guide dog just by myself twice. Uh, with a guide dog, I mean, I usually go with a cane, my white cane, and people ask you, "What is this stick for?" Right? Oh, you look like you can see whatever. So I didn't even know anything about it. So mom took me to other specialists. Remember, she took me to this retina specialist, an older lady, and she just said, "Oh, now you have retinitis pigmentosa. The previous doctor was right. The only thing you're gonna do is actually talk about people when they're sitting there hearing you." My grandma is blind, so and she does pretty well. She does great. You're gonna be okay. And I get very depressed, and no family support who said like, "Oh, let's go find resources for you." I was like, my dad said like, he would just tell me like, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be at home." And if I happen to just go out there with my younger brothers, they were kids, and I used to just kind of hold on to one of them. I remember one of them telling me like, "Oh, Anna, you trip because you're not even looking carefully." So no one understood. And then I actually I got very depressed, but I remember actually, I don't know, I guess I never gave up. I continue. I continue. I remember I work at a coffee shop as a waitress, cashier waitress. And I had a boyfriend, and I told him, I'm actually going to go blind. And he just go, "Oh, come on, that's not true." I told the friends, and they were like, "Oh, you're crazy. You're not going blind." And no one would believe me because I guess I never really stayed home and stopped doing things. I guess my resiliency was always there, and it got a little, um, it was kind of banishing when they diagnosed me, but then it didn't. So as the sight was getting worse and worse, I remember I was getting more depressed because I was struggling more and more. And people that I told, they would say like, "Oh, that's not true." And I remember once going to Disneyland with a friend, was my best friend and her boyfriend, this guy from Thailand, and it was getting dark, and I told them like, "We have to go," and they start laughing. I go like, "Oh no, we have to go. I don't want to be here. It's dark. I can see." And I hear a lot of blind people doing that, people that are going blind, and where they just still driving, people with RP, they still driving, and when it's getting dark, they go home. So yeah, just looking back, I made him, I forced him because I got very upset about it. And now it's like I go to Disney, I go, "No, no, everyone wants to go home and I want to stay at Disney." "Oh, come on, guys, let's stay at Disney." Right? Even if I'm not able to see. So, but it was very depressing. So I remember going home and crying about it. And I cried many times. I think got, I don't have any more, I don't have any more tears anymore because I cry a lot. But now I sometimes I kind of tear up here and there, but not even about things that happen in my life where I don't know. I guess it's been a year that I cry a lot when my guy that passed away, and I still cry for Capri. I guess she's the only one that I really cry about. Anybody else don't matter. I mean, for me to be sad, no, it matter. They matter, but for me to be sad and give up and not keep going, no. So I share this with you because I am so proud of myself, and this is not just because this is disability pride month, but many of us are blind. Even though we went blind, we were born blind, we were diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa or any other eye condition when they were very little, when we were teens, late teens, later 20s, 30s, 40s. Sooner or later, we use that resiliency that we have, that support that we have from others, because I did get support back from people that were not blood related, quote unquote, nuclear family, but I got it from other people. I did. So I took advantage of that, and I used my resiliency, my ability of being very resourceful. I have always been very resourceful, and I always wanted to be an architect, and I couldn't because I told myself, well, someone that is going blind will not be able to be an architect. So, I continue working and whatever. And then I remember at the coffee shop, I met a couple of blind people who used to go and get food, got the courage and introduce myself once when they were having dinner. After I left that restaurant, I went to work for a guy at a Mexican restaurant. They came to eat, and I just introduced myself. They invited me to their house, show me their screen reader on their computer, Braille, their paintings on the walls. And Lisa gave me a white cane, and she told me how to use it around her swimming pool apartment. I remember, I see it. It's like it's vivid in my mind how the water looked like and people swimming. And there was Lisa and me, and I was all embarrassed because they would see me, people that I didn't even know. And then she invited me to go with her to look for jobs, and there I was without a cane, and she's with her cane, and I could see how people look at us, right? So I went from there, and she encouraged me. I got encouraged by seeing what she was doing, and now I feel like crying. I do feel like crying, uh, because this is the part when I want to share how do I feel about it. I guess still, you still get sad. I guess when you're born with the blindness, it's different. But when you lose your sight, is for me. I don't know for other people. And I was saying that I don't cry much, but I guess when it's about the blindness, that is for me. It's always gonna be there. The world is so beautiful. I always say in my simple videos that the world is so beautiful. All the nature and the people and the children smiling. They're so cute when they smile, especially when you go to Disney. And I could see all those little 4 or 5 year olds, and they would go Simba, and they would go Snow White, and they're waving, and you could see the little beautiful faces, and they're so happy, right? And if anyone is watching me, I doubt anyone is watching me here, but I'm doing my video to leave it on my channel because that's what I want to do for the moment, and that is the blind vision. Yeah, on blind with a vision, we always have a vision, and sometimes it gets a little teary and a little cloudy, but we still have a vision, right? And we still share it. But the world is so beautiful. The trees, the sun, the sky, all the beautiful, amazing inventions that humans invent and create, and everything. I mean, the cars moving, passing by so quickly, which are scary for us blind, right? uh, it's so beautiful. So I do miss my side. I do. And I'm probably one of the few that acknowledge that. I believe one of the things that help us heal and um, to start learning enjoying life blindly is when you acknowledge those negative feelings about the blindness. When you get in touch with those feelings and you say, you know what, I hate being blind. You know what? It sucks to be blind. You know what? I don't like having to use a cane. You know what? I hate how people stare at me. You know what? I will never be able to drive. Right? You know what? It sucks that all my friends disappear as soon as they saw me using my cane later on when I went to college because I got inspired by Lisa and Don, who was an attorney, and Lisa was a speech pathologist. I go like, oh wait, I can actually go to college, right? And I actually was going to college already. No, I was in my last year of high school, and then I signed up for a class in college, and I was kind of bumping on trash cans, and I just dropped. And then I met Lisa, and I go, you know what? I can actually go to college. So I did. I did, and I was able to see how people look at you when you're blind. I mean, and now I know like you don't need to see or have sight to know that people is looking at us, right? And I was able to see people's faces and how they react. And now, as I say, I don't see your face, but I hear your face. So I know I have those images vivid in my mind. And you know what? My blind biases could get in the way, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong, you know, quite often. Why not? I acknowledge it. So being blind, it's, going blind is not easy, and I'm sure it's different when you were born totally blind. Now, what it is the same is how we are viewed by society because of the disability. And right here, I'm not just talking about the blindness, I'm talking about disabilities overall. The richness about this world is the whole diversity that forms this world, right? The diversity of humans, the diversity of beings, animals, plants, everything that is on earth. But when we're talking about humans, the richness about this world is the diversity of people, right? So the disabled community, we are so diverse. We're not all the same. But if we talk about the consequences of the disability or the consequences of the blindness or being visually impaired, low vision, they are the same, regardless of whether or not you were born blind or you actually went blind later in life. It's the same. That negative mentality that exists towards blind people, those legends, myths, stereotypes, misconceptions, like, oh, poor blind people, right? Blind people are not able to do anything. Blind people are not able to, I mean, how are they going to use a computer if she or him, they apply for a job? No, I'm just going to, discard this resume. She's blind. When we go to job interviews and they ask you, like, oh, you have two master's degree, and they don't call you back. I don't know. So I guess we're very diverse because we're people. We are people. We're just like anybody else within the disabled community. I'm not just talking about the blind. But the thing that is the same is that negative mentality, right? And for us, the blind, we all know how it is to wake up in the morning and place our feet on the floor, on the carpet, and watch for every single wall because you'll go through walls, right? We know how it is when we're ready to go to college. We know how it is when we have to go to the store. We know how it is when we're ready to cross the street. We know how it is when we go to a job interview. We know how it is when we want to cook and do everything. We have to use different strategies. We have to use our hearing, our orientation and mobility skills to cross the street. We have to use the same skill like when looking for a store. We have to ask for the accommodations when applying for a college, right? When we're ready to go to any school, we have to get ready and learn so many skills, right? We know that we need to concentrate when cooking or cutting using a knife, and we become really good at it. Just we don't even have to think so much about it. We just know how to do it. But we share that when we're talking about the blindness. And the one that we share the most is that even though we here in the United States, we have the American with Disabilities Act, which is going to be the anniversary on July 26th. Um, and we have advanced here in the United States, and a lot of the laws related to the American with Disabilities. I am grateful for that because thanks to the American with Disabilities, I can now question and fight for my disability. I mean, we can always fight, but that there is some a law, a legislation that is going to back us up. It doesn't exist in every single country. It doesn't. So I'm grateful because we have that here in the United States, and I live in the United States. Now, is ADA reinforced in every single area that is makes up the whole American with Disabilities? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. One of the ones that I always talk about, and that is the top one for me, is hashtag what about employment for people, for blind people? Hashtag what employment for people with disabilities? Hashtag what about employment for people that is blind? Hashtag what about employment for people with visual disabilities? Right? They always say that there is the 15% of people with disabilities are employed, 85% unemployed. I would say that is more than that when we're talking about the blind, right? There is people from other countries, Spain, Central South America, that they tell me, and people here in the United States, blind people also mention this, and they use this word. I'm not going to use it; doesn't come from me. When they say even people that is a wheelchair user, they get hired before we do because they have the sight. I guess this just reflects the bias and the lack of information about each disability, right? Because somebody else that has another disability will say, well, even blind people get hired for this job, but I'm not. I don't, not us. So it just reflects the lack of information, the whole ancestral legends and stereotypes about, in this case, blind people, right? We have advanced, we have totally advanced, right? And I'm glad that we have the American with Disabilities, which from my point of view needs to be revised. They need to revisit. And who are the ones that can do a lot about it? We people with disabilities. We're not going to wait for legislators just to one day wake up and say like, hey, wait, there is a population of blind and visually impaired people, and they're lacking on this and this and this. They don't even know. Most of them, they don't have a disability. They're not blind. They might know someone, they might have someone in the family, but they don't even think about us. So we're the ones who are with the lack of employment. We're the ones who are not, don't have all those for everyone, right? What about the 85% that doesn't have it, right? So now, what are my achievements? Well, let me share and see if anyone is on watching, but I doubt anyone is watching. Let me see. All right, so I have 3 people. Hello, you guys. Let me see. Hi, Leaf. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the comment. Hi, Larry. All right. Wichi from Spain in Madrid. Hi, Wichi. Let me see. All right. So now I'm gonna quickly go through my achievements. Before doing that, I'm gonna share. Going blind was not easy, right? Remember having a boyfriend, and I didn't want to see him anymore because I was embarrassed about being blind. So then I found I had a boyfriend who was the brother of no, he was a friend of my brother. And later on he left because he said he didn't want to be with someone that was going blind. Um and that was not fun. That was not fun, right? So I did go on for, I guess, a few years being depressed. Although I guess it was functional depression, what you would call it, functional depression, because I never stopped. I never stopped showering, taking baths, and wearing my makeup and trying to look pretty, and going to college and working. But there was a point where I couldn't work as a waitress anymore. There was a point where I couldn't work as a cashier. I got several jobs in different locations where I was a cashier, and at some point I was given more change than what I was supposed to, and I was called by the supervisor, and he was really nice. He removed me from being a cashier. He put me in the area where I would just serve the sodas and kind of pass the food, and I quit, and I got very depressed, very, very depressed. Then I went into the whole research about um, the school for the blind. I went there and I got very depressed seeing blind people walking with their white cane, kind of looking lost the way we do, or sighted people think that we're lost, but we're not. That's how we function, that's how we walk. But for me, seeing that they were touching the wall to go to the restroom, for me, it's like, no, 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 you're gonna bump on the on. I remember thinking about that, and now that's why I don't get upset with sighted people, because I thought the same, right? When that volunteer came to my house to take me to Braille Institute, and I am walking there with my high heels and my braces and my makeup and my long curls and looking all cute, and then I see all these people that uh, they were not matching their clothes. Their clothes look a little kind of wrinkly, or like they just got up and went to school. And their hair look a little kind of, should I say, a little greasy. Or maybe it's just that I was very picky and always into the whole thing, like you have to look quote unquote clean and cute. And I started crying, crying and crying and crying. So I got very depressed. I got depressed and stopped for a while. I did stop college, and I realized that people care, but they didn't care. Friends totally disappeared. Um, my parents, they continue working. My siblings continue doing their stuff. My three older sisters, they were already married. They were not around. Um, and I didn't want to see the boyfriend, right? And then the other boyfriend, he left. He said he didn't want to be with someone that was going blind. Um, and I guess it was the best thing that he could have done. I realized that I wanted to go back to college, went into the rehab program, um, went to Braille, did not like Braille. It was depressing for me. I have to be very honest. I learned that a lot of the people that were there at Braille, they had been going to Braille for 10, 20, even 30 years, going to Braille to just chat and mingle with the blind. And I honestly, guys, did not want that for me. I always say that one a school for the blind, like Braille Institute and institutions for the blind, I'm so grateful that they're here. But that is one school where you can, the first stop, if you're losing your sight, or if you have someone that is going blind, that is the first stop. Later on, you could just be the one that is working there, or the volunteer working, but well, good luck with the working. I actually went back to Braille, but I actually went back when I learned um, the screen reader, JAWS, and I learned Braille and things for the blind. And I was a receptionist. I was a receptionist for over a year, and then I was hired by the worldwide reservation at Marriott. Let me share about my job here to kind of, I'm sharing my experience and my feelings about and the depression. But now let's go into the achievements. So one of my biggest achievements is that I got upset. I got really upset because no one cared. They did care, but they didn't care. When I say they didn't care, is that they continue with their life, and from my point of view, was like, oh, no one gives a crap, right? No one cares. But at the same time, I knew that my parents love me. They love me a little bit. I knew that my family, care, but they feel bad. Now I know they were afraid, the fear, right? The disability. I believe that disability, when people see someone with a disability, physical disability, any kind of physical disability, in this case, the blindness, people experience fear. They're not used to the unknown. They rather go look the other way. And people are busy. Your family members, they have to go on with their life. And that's true. And I got upset about it. And I was upset for a long time about it, for years. So what did I do? I went to Braille. I decided that I do not want to spend 30 years just going to Braille Institute and mingle with blind people. I went back to college. I asked for I researched for as much information as I could. I kept hiding the blindness. I used to bump on trash cans. I used to sit at the front of the class and record the class. I was pretending that I was sighted until I couldn't hide it anymore. And I had to use the cane. And then I go like, oh, wait, I'm not bumping anymore. People don't think that I'm drugged. I'm not bumping on the wall and then just being embarrassed looking around and see who saw me, right? So I learned to use, my cane. And then I started noticing that a lot of people was helping me and be nice. They would run, especially I have to say white people, Caucasian people, very open-minded people. I say it out loud. A lot of people, my Mexican people or people that have lived here for many years, they complain and they go like, oh, those white people, they're racist and this and that. And I go like, for me, they're the ones that have always helped me. They're the ones that tell me, green light when I'm ready to cross the street. Or do you need a hand? Oh, let me open the door. Oh, what a beautiful guy, though. My Latino people, oh, look at the ugly dog. If you don't behave, they tell the kid, if you don't behave, that ugly dog is going to bite you. Oh, why do they allow dogs in the baths? Why do they allow stinky dogs? I can go on and on, which is for another video. So I go like, oh, there is a group of people that they are actually nice to blind people, and I can go out using their help. So I did it more and more and more. And that's why I'm not afraid, even if I get lost, to go to the restaurant or go out there or kind of go to the corner and just look around and see if I'm afraid. If someone comes and I go like, are you crossing the street? And they go like, yeah. Is it okay if I cross with you, if I follow you? When I have low vision, I mean, I could just follow them. Now I can do it too. If I go like, talk to me so I can follow you, right? Or with the guide dog, I would just tell, each one of my guide dogs, just follow, follow. They would say, you want to hold on? Sometimes I would, with the guide dog, pretty much I would say, oh, my guide dog is going to follow. And they would go like, they know how to follow. And that would start a whole conversation. Right now I say, is it okay if I hold on to your right elbow? I do that. Tip, tip. So you know what? I am proud of my little and big achievements. I always say that as a blind person, and this, I guess I can generalize here for my blind people who are not sitting here with me and sharing with you, blind and visually impaired, low vision, everyone. We are so we all of us do it. Sooner or later, we get over the whole blindness. The sadness still there for me. Most of us adapt. For me, it's about adapting. I do not accept the blindness. I accept that I'm not able to drive. I accept that I'm not able to fill out a form with pen and pencil the way I used to. I accept that I'm not able to draw as beautiful I used to. I have not tried, never tried. I've been thinking in the last month that I should give it a try. I used to draw very, very nice with pencil. I used to cut hair. I used to do people's hair. So I'm not able to do those things. I accept that. But the quote unquote normal is to have good sight, right? I'm not going to say the 20/20 whole vision, but the normal. And I'm not going to say that we're abnormal, but you know what? It is an illness, it is a condition. So who wants to have a condition? Not me. And for me, acknowledging that out loud and saying out loud and not being afraid of blind people telling me like, oh, Anna's depressed. Look at her. She's upset. No, I'm not. You're not inside of me for you to say that. I'm not. But you know what? I adapt to the whole blindness, and that is very extremely helpful, right? The theory of evolution says that animals were, I guess, life on Earth was able to evolution. Is that how you say it? Thanks to the whole adaptation process. Animals, plants, humans, we adapted. We were able to evolve, is the word. We evolved because we adapted to the conditions throughout whatever centuries and years. So for me, I thought about it and I adapted. I accept that I'm not able to use an Uber, so I adapt to either walking, taking the public bus, taking Uber, Lyft, special transportation, and the one that is working for me at the moment, right? I went to the store very early. I went to buy fruits and vegetables and use my special transportation, $3.60. And I did go to a new Mexican store that I researched online, because many of them are crappy and very expensive. Can't believe they have rotten vegetables and fruits. I go like, not coming back. No. And I go like, let me try another one. Need to buy stuff for my mom who loves her Mexican food. I'm able to live without it. Believe me. Believe me that I do, but not my mom. So I went and I arrived like around 9:45, and they gave me a guy who was beautiful. Beautiful guy. Very kind and quiet at the beginning, but he saw me being all chatty and friendly, and then he was just having a, you know, some conversation. And I go like, oh my gosh, she was so great that I finished like an hour before my ride. An hour and 10 minutes before my ride was picking me up. I go like, what am I gonna do standing out here in the heat with meat? I cancel my ride before the hour, because if you cancel within the hour, they will put you as a no cancel, late cancellation. So I cancel and I go, you know what? Check Uber, and I say it's only $5 and 90 some $6 plus whatever tip I give the driver if he helps me take out my shopping from the back, because I always do. So I cancel, I took Uber. So I adapted to that. I adapted. Believe me, you guys, if you are blind, that adapting to whatever you're not able to do, you don't have to accept it, right? It's like giving up. There was a religious guy who said like, no, 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 I'm a champion, because you know what? God wanted me to be blind to be a testimony. I go like, what kind of father? Because he said Father God. I go, what kind of father wants their son to be blind? And I laugh. And the following day, he was supposedly teaching me computer. For He came through a program here in the area. He was working for some company that send blind people into blind people's houses to teach computer. And honestly, let me show off that I knew more than he did. So next day he comes and you go like, oh, you know what, Anna, I was talking to my parents about it and share what you said, and I guess you're right. I go, yeah, you have to put it in the universe. Someday I will, the universe, I'm waiting for me to recover my sight, even if that sounds stupid and ridiculous to other people. Hey, it could happen to you and somebody else. It might not be for me, but hey, I really hope this is the case for other people. It has happened, right? My friend Sandy was blind her whole life. She's still blind, but she's driving. Now she's driving everywhere, but she's still using her cane when she gets off the car. But she's driving. I don't know how, but she is. Anyway, she had surgery, and somebody else had surgery, and somebody else had surgery, and they go like, I thought they told me I didn't have a cure, and now I'm able to see. So it could happen. I'm not stuck at home in the house like other blind people that they are. All they do is research on the blindness because they're waiting for the cure. No. In the meantime, while someone finds the cure for RP or whatever, I want to adapt and I want to do things, right? So I went to college, adapted to going to school and having to ask for accommodations, getting a reader, note taker who would go to class and take notes for me. I adapted to that. Then I went into the rehab. I went to Los Angeles, got rehabilitation. I learned Braille, computer, more computer, which I was already using the screen reader. I used to go to the computer lab at Fullerton College. Blind lady used to teach me, and I learned from her a lot. Then went to Los Angeles for 5 months. I was there and learned all those things for the blind, independent living skills, blah, blah, blah. Came back, started looking for a job. I was hired by Braille, and then I was hired by Marriott, and then when I was hired by Walt Disney Travel, and I graduated with my AA degree. I got my bachelor's degree in sociology. It was not easy when you are English as a second language, so I had to have a dictionary and trying, translating. And it's not easy when as soon as they hear your foreign accent, they go like, "Where are you from? You have an accent," or they go, "What?" Right? I used to get sensitive about it. I go like, I'm so proud of myself. When I speak in locations, when I do presentations out there, I always say this out loud. I'm so proud. It was not easy living in a country where I was undocumented. My first time saying this out loud. I was undocumented, right? My parents were always here, but mom didn't want her children to grow up in the United States because the United States was not a good country for her children. I go like, Mom, please. Now she regrets that. So I wasn't, I say this, not only I was undocumented, but I was undocumented. Those are, I said that those were my disadvantages, being undocumented, um, being blind, being a female, right? Is also a disadvantage, being a woman. Living in the United States living in the United States, when you were not born here and you look different, quote unquote different, uh, some people remind you of that. Oh, you're not from here. Oh, you guys come here to take over the jobs of our jobs, right? And and it's not even like, I know, mean, we live in the here where the United States, which is the melting pot, right? People from everywhere, but there is people that they believe they were the first ones here. Um, so I also say that my accent was a disadvantage, right? And many other disadvantages. And I used to get, mm, not upset, but all those disadvantages, I just used to say it over and over and over and over. And what I was doing is actually preventing myself from just getting over all those things. They were barriers. And as I went to school and got my bachelor's degree in sociology, my minor in Spanish, and then I went for the my master's in marriage and family therapy, and then just for fun I did my master's degree in gerontology. And when I did my practicum for my first master's degree, I did my practicum at a high school, and then I got a job working with high school students doing the one-on-one counseling. And then I work in agencies for with older people, and then I work at a schools like teaching assistive technology and helping counselors doing accommodations for students in college. And then I work in other locations, and after that I do therapy, individual therapy, right? And I have worked in other locations, and that's what I do. And you know what? Um, that I have achieved many, many, many things. I can tell you more about my life. It's not easy when you are in a new country and it's not your country, right? And you're experiencing vision loss, and English is not your native language, and they make sure to remind you of that, and then you are shy about it, and then you just look back, and I go like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that the blindness for me was through retinitis pigmentosa. I'll tell you why. Because this is what I tell you in some of my videos. Honestly, if you have glaucoma and you still have sight, if you have low vision and it's stable, if you were diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, it's kind of an advantage. I always used to say, like, and I still say it, but I view it differently. The feelings are different. I go like, it was horrible knowing that I was losing my sight every single day, little by little by little by little, going blind, with the fear of like, oh my gosh. And by the way, I was talking to someone, a guy that I know here in Orange County. He said after the pandemic he doesn't want to go out, and he's so focused. He's like, what am I going to do, Anna, when my sight is all gone? What am I going to do you think I'm going to be able to live by myself the way I do now? And I go like, yeah. And I share this with him. I'm gonna tell you what I share with him. I go like, I used to just be so scared about the same thing, but for me, no one told me to do what I did. I go like, okay, if this side is gonna be gone, as the ophthalmologist, the retina specialist told me, I'm gonna take advantage to explore every single sidewalk, to take a look at the crossings, the ramps, the buildings, see how the cane sounds on the grass, on the sidewalk, so I can get information. How does my cane sound when there is metal and I don't trip, right? How does that sound on a pole? I use my cane and I use the little side. I told them, perhaps it would be more helpful for you to actually start using that side that you have. I mean, I pray that the side never goes, that you always low vision. He goes, oh, no, 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 Anna. The doctor told me that I'm going to be totally blind. I go, the doctors have told other people that they're going to be blind forever and they recover their sight, honestly. Or they never went blind, totally blind. I go, I think you're just calling the blindness. And he just laughed about it. I go like, no, perhaps you want to focus on what you have, not on what you don't have, which is how we actually end up succeeding with this whole blindness, right? Whatever, regardless of whether or not you went blind later in life or you were born blind. Because what I'm talking about, the challenge of being blind is not only when we lost our sight. People that are totally blind and they were born blind, they have the same situation, right? The discrimination, the bias, the prejudice, the fear of going out there because of the, I don't know, parents were overprotective or they just never care on teaching them, or they never gave them support, or they just did everything for them. So it's the same, right? Perhaps we just, like, if you're going through vision loss, perhaps you should focus on that low vision that you have and explore every single thing. Ask someone that is willing and available to go for with you for a walk, even if it's 10 minutes. Hold on to their elbow, feel how they walk, but don't go for a walk and say, I'm gonna leave my cane because I'm holding on to you. Come on, you have to pick up that white cane and bring it with you. I bet you, I promise you, that if you start doing that and start using the resources that you have, whatever resources, someone that is willing, you have a white cane, stick, uh, a broom, um, and if you have some friend that didn't go away, and if you have yourself, I always say that I have me, myself, and I, and you have that resiliency that characterizes humans, every single human, and you still, like, deep inside have faith. Honestly, faith is what keeps us moving. Faith and hope. We deep inside, we have the hope. I think hope is the biggest one. We hope that everything is going to get better, right? Even the serial killer who's running away because they're already chasing him, they have the hope that he's not going to be caught, right? So I always joke about that. But hope, you have to have hope that it's going to get better. But for that to get better, you really have to be willing to adapt, to be open, to ask for help. And for me, was asking help with strangers. People ask me out there, Anna, they ask me, how do you do this? How do you go out by yourself? How do you do your two master's degrees? Or how do you work? How do you know how to do this and that and whatever? Because I have the desire and I have taken the decision, and then I have to have the discipline. The three V's. You have to have to have the desire. Like, if you don't want to do things, nothing is going to happen, believe me. So I have to say that I'm going to say it out loud, very out loud. I don't have a microphone, but I have no issues about screaming. I mean, not only on July, the when is Disability Pride Month, I'm so proud of my achievements. To other people, that might be nothing, but you know what? It was not easy going through my first master's degree, which was like, if I did two degrees, 60 units, when most master's degrees are 30 units. I don't know who told me to do that. My God. And then I did a second master's degree. My favorite, gerontology, which studies the aging process. My way of thinking changed when I study about the aging process and what happens. I always say that the life of a blind person, a blind adult, we already experience a lot of the challenges that older adults start experiencing when when they get old. But, well, if the universe allows me to get older, And blind, we'll see how it is to have both, right? I'm heading that way. So I am proud. I am proud. And I am proud of many of my blind people around the world who have done exactly the same and even way more than what I have done. I did a live video. I think it was my last video in Spanish, and I titled it "When you have you ever feel stuck and have and regret having lost time?" And I said yeah, and I share. I didn't do the video in English, and it seems that I will do it because my Spanish video resonated with a lot of blind people. I believe every single human, this is one of those areas and things that we can generalize and say that every single human at some point has felt stuck and regretted, wasting time in different areas. For me, I regret having wasted time with people, honestly. People that I thought they would be, they, I'm not going to blame them. I'm responsible for having spent time with people, uh, especially with guys, honestly. You stop, you get all, happy, 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 and then you don't do what could have helped you achieve your goal sooner than the time that you have taken to achieve your goal. I still working in my big, big, big vision and mission. So I do regret, but there's a but. The but is that um, I guess, should I call it bad or and? Very often I say that it's not a bad. Let me erase that. It's going to be and I will not do that again. I will not. I'm going to work on what I want to achieve, my biggest vision, the vision of inclusion of people with visual disabilities. And to other people, that is something very simple. They go like, oh, that's crazy. She will never achieve inclusion for blind people. But you know what? If I can do it for one, two, or three people, I'm going to die happy, right? I guess I will close this video asking the question to find your vision and mission in life. And what do you want? How do you figure out what you want to do? I guess for me, acknowledging that I feel stuck, because if we don't check our cheese, just the way it happens in the book, Who Moved My Cheese? If we get so comfortable, like the characters in the book, and you just go and do the same thing every single day, the way the mice in the book did. They would go to the cheese station every single day, bring the cheese, eat it. They never check. And one day when they arrived, there was no more cheese. We get very comfortable, you guys, right? Blindsided humans, we get very comfortable. We don't check our cheese, and we don't really see beyond and see what's beyond station cheese station, right? Station C. That's what they call it, station C, where they have the cheese. And what did the real mice did? As soon as they didn't find cheese, they took off. They left looking for more cheese. What about the two mice that behaved and thought their mentality was like humans? They actually got upset and they stayed behind. And that's what we humans do. And that's what we do when we go blind. We get upset and we go like, I'm crossing my hands like the little character, the character in the book that got very upset. He would just cross his arms in front of him and say like, I want my cheese back. I am not going anywhere until they bring my cheese. That's how I got when I went blind. Honestly, I want my sight back, and I still say it, but but it doesn't stop me from just going and checking all those labyrinths to see if there is another cheese station, right? And I have done it little by little. I have done it, and that's why I've been able to achieve those achievements that are insignificant and maybe very mediocre to many people, and are not compared to the huge, amazing achievements that other blind and visually impaired and people with disabilities have done. Because the point is not to compare ourselves, but to learn from ourselves. So I am proud. I continue fighting my, those huge battles but I have my many small victories, and that's what I take away with me, and that helps me to keep going and having is maintaining, I guess, maintaining the discipline to do it. And having found many blind people around the world, and knowing that you live the same situation that I live here in Southern California, you know, the consequences of being blind, which is the negative mentality by society, living in a sighted world, which is beautiful. I live the same. So knowing that you live the same gave me purpose and meaning in life. What I do, honestly, is because I know I have many other people, family members. I call you guys family members. You guys are family. I have you everywhere. And if I can spend the rest of my life just talking about it, and hopefully making blind with a vision a huge, huge vision, um, I'm gonna die happy. Now, the biggest question, how do we figure out what we want to do, and how do we learn how to be happy blindly, right? I guess you have to stop. You have to start from the end. I figure out, and I might change my way of thinking about this later on, but I believe you have to start from the end. Oh, that's how I figure out. The question should be, what legacy do you want to leave behind? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? I asked myself this years ago, and I go, having done something that helps my blind people, creating, I don't know, I didn't know what. It was not clear. The picture of the puzzle of the vision of inclusion of people with visual disabilities, or how the way I paint or picture the vision of inclusion of people with disabilities is like a puzzle, where little by little I've been putting the pieces together, and still incomplete, but I have advanced. I have advanced, and I see the picture. And you guys are in this picture, are part of it. And that's my simple legacy that I want to leave, the vision of inclusion of people with disabilities. Now, how does this whole puzzle looks completely? I have visualized that in my mind, but I have not finished all the puzzles. I know that you guys can contribute to that, but that is that we advance in the inclusion of employment for people with disabilities. Without money, you guys, we're not independent. We're not, quote unquote, independent. We always need, everyone needs a salary. And this is a situation around the world. They refuse to employ the blind and visually impaired. And I know we have different situations. You might be born in a family that is wealthy. Anna is not. Anna was not born in the 1%. I joke about it, but it's true, right? So maybe you should ask yourself, what is the legacy that I want to leave behind? And you'll have a response. Please do not convince yourself. Otherwise, if you start coming up with things that are unreal, play with it. Think about it, right? And then from there, check your cheese. Have you gotten very comfortable at home, just sitting around and doing little things to the way I have done for years? I did. Now I guess I do better now. uh, just finding little things to entertain you. It doesn't even matter if you think that whatever you're doing, seriously, like the serious thing that you're working on, whatever you want to create, it's been a year, 2 years, 3 years. It doesn't matter. You're working towards that. I've been doing that, I have to say, and I'm proud of that. So little by little, check your cheese. Don't just get comfortable with cheese station C. The cheese, you might run out of cheese, right? And this life, time is precious, but in the eternity is, how do I say that in English? Time is precious, But in a world of eternity, there is always time to start. That's how I say it in Spanish. It doesn't really translate. It doesn't sound so powerful. But in the world of, if, in a world of eternity, there is always time to start. Honestly. So get out there, take a walk away from Station C. Check and see if there is other cheese, different kinds of cheese, like in the book. And don't get so resistant. I know you're gonna probably experience what the characters in the books experience, the fear of the unknown. It is scary to be blind, you guys, and having to cross a street that where there is heavy traffic. It is scary, very scary, very, very scary. I get scared all the time. And I remember crossing the street with Capri, and I have this on a video in Spanish. I went like that. I'm crossing my thumb and my index finger and making the cross, and I went like in the name of in the name of the Godfather, and I did the whole four crossing. I say, and I say, Capri, this might be the last day that we are in this world because the traffic was very scary, and I was videotaping, and we crossed the street, right? And one of my sighted friends called me, and he like, Anna, I was scared watching your video because when you're almost ready to cross, you actually end up a little very close to the line on the left. And I say, don't worry, friend, I'm at home right now and you're talking to me. I didn't die. And that is how it is to be blind. You go like, yeah, but Capri was with you. I go like, what you don't know, and I stopped the video, is like Capri was ready to pee and she was rushing to the seat, to the grass on as soon as we step on the sidewalk, right? She would have never taken me into the cars. I'm pretty sure of that. That's how much I trusted Capri. So there you go. This is my first video on the Disability Pride Day, Pride Month. Sorry, July. And I will go sharing with you that if you are here in Orange County, Anna decided to do a social primary blind with a vision group. Yeah, social primary social blind with a vision group. I'm gonna invite people to get together here in Orange County, and I call it primary because for now we do not want to go into the whole having a president and vice president and secretary and make it so serious. No, we want a close group of blind people that we can include each other because family members include us, but they don't, right? Let's get together. Let's have fun. Let's go out to have lunch, dinner, talk, and later on coming up with support with a psychoeducational support group, maybe once a month. Once a month would be great. And then we start, can start incorporating more activities. If you made it through this point, to this point of the video, you're listening to me. I hope you do have a group of blind people, blind and visually impaired people around your area. Please don't be a Mr. Blind Scrooge. Yeah, when you're one of those blind people who is so proud to tell Anna, all my friends are sighted. I don't have any blind friends. Oh no, who wants to be with blind people if they're so negative? I go, good for you that you're only with sighted people. But for me, it doesn't bother me to be around my blind people. In fact, even if we are not united and we are a little challenging when it comes to agreeing with the whole thing about the blindness, at the end my blind people are the ones that understand how it is to be blind. You that is blind or low vision, or you were born blind and told, or you went blind later in life, you know how Anna lives. I know when you tell me that you're blind, I already know how your life is. I know how it is to get up being blind, and waking up, getting up, putting your feet on the floor, and starting the whole day. I know how it is. I know how you have to be careful in every corner. I know how the blindness chases you 24/7. I know how you turn the corner, and there is something that you don't know how it is, and the blindness says, peekaboo, I'm here with you. So you have to go around the whole thing and check and see what's there. I know. So Don't tell me that you're so proud just to mingle with sighted people. And go, if that works for you, I'm not going to say not to do it. But I believe it's critical for us to have a group of blind people. And this is for another video, but we really need to start practicing and learning how to be tolerant with our group of blind people. There is someone that is grumpy, well, and it's almost impossible to have them in the room, in the group, then we all have to talk about it, not just get rid of the person, right? As a group. There is blind people that you just don't want around, not because they're blind, not because they're blind. It's just because they're not going to contribute to your vision in life or to your goals in life, right? Hope you create a group. My plans are to make it also worldwide on Zoom, so we can actually I want to find leaders around the world. And so you guys get together with Anna as a blind with a vision on Zoom. And why not share with you guys when we have meetings out here, and you can be part of it through Zoom. That would be fun if my internet works, right? All right. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to see if any of you have um, share anything. I merely, let me see. Okay, so Marley, you asked a question about the Canada thing. I think I will do it in another video because this video has got way too long. But thank you for asking. I use a graphite white cane. And by the way, I'm going to be sharing new videos that I did about white canes. I'm comparing the ID canes from Ambutech with other canes that are also ID canes. So I'm sure that you're going to benefit from that. But I have always used the graphite white canes because that is very light and those work for me. I love those with a medium-sized rolling tip. Which is smiling. Hi, Wichi. Love you. Merlis asks you, the visual impairment is a spectrum. That is a question for a whole video, Merly. I would totally. Okay, so Merly says when she was little, she always had someone helping her, right? But now you do, Merly, right? And you use a white can. Merly Ortega. Let me see. When I use my white cane, I was hiding my disability because everyone would just, I was holding to someone because they would just help me to go everywhere. Uh, you know what, Merly, I believe that is encouraged by sighted people because there were times when I wanted to just, when I started using my cane, and even friends would tell me, oh, no, you don't have to bring your cane, just leave it. And when a kid was born blind, I think family members are the ones that start teaching you the whole embarrassment. I mean, we learn from others. We humans are socialized. We're social beings, right? And um, we learn those things from the family because they're the ones that are embarrassed, not you. As a kid, you're not. If you were born blind, you're not. You learn to be embarrassed. And then you grow up and you learn, like, oh, they're here, but they're not. And then you start meeting blind people and you go, like, huh, yeah, that happened to me. Right? Let me see what else I have here. Merely Ortega. Let me see. I have Carrie and accessibility. Oh, hi, Carrie. What a surprise to see you here. I'm sure that you guys know Carrie. She does great videos. Go and follow Carrie. I'm so glad that you're here. Reina Lopez Mendez. Greetings. Hi, Reina. I don't know if you're still here. RTCB, hi. Thank you for sharing your experience. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you're here. And that's all I have. Excuse my finger if you see my hand. 1 hour and 33 minutes, and I was going to be here for 45 minutes. I'm telling you, Anna has vocal diarrhea. Someone very little in the family years ago, she looked at me, and this was a kid, and she goes, you have vocal diarrhea. And I was just telling someone earlier that I think faster than than how I talk. And I make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I switch my words and I go like, I hope that's not going to be dementia later on when I switch my words. But I go like, no, it's just because I'm so smart and I have so much that I want to say that I'm thinking ahead, right? Well, you have to find the positive for little things that you have here and there. Why not? Honestly, we have to focus on what we have and not what we don't have. Weeks ago we did a live video here, and the question was, how do you overcome the whole blindness thing, the whole depression? Well, I think it was about depression. Well, let's focus on what we have and not on what we don't have. That's what's going to help you. I promise you. Focus on the good things that you have and what you don't have. Reach out as one of us. I might not have the response, but I might know someone. Networking with blind people, right? Anyway, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you that you listened to Anna. I thought I was going to be here by myself, just me, myself, and I, as always. But I'm here. It's probably what? I don't know, maybe almost midnight here in Southern California. One of these days I had insomnia, and at 3 in the morning, I was doing a live video. So for me, it could be at any time, right? It doesn't have to, I don't have to follow all those guidelines that they have on YouTube. Like, you have to release a video on Thursdays at 10 a.m. so people can see. And I go, like, what about my friends from Spain? 10 a.m. in Spain is different than the United States. So I can just do it whenever I want to. Anyway, I love you guys. And thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. I'll see you in more videos these days on the Disability Awareness Day. And you know what? I forgot. I always say I'm going to start my video by describing Anna is sitting here. I have a kind of beige white background, sitting on my little seat that I always use. And I have an off-the-shoulder tight red simple top. It has little sleeves here, but it's off the shoulder. And I have my golden hoop earrings. My head, I actually have a little half ponytail, and it's down. And I still have curls because I went to the salon and they did curls, but I still have some curls. And I have red lipstick, and I did my little makeup. Um, and I don't know if it looks okay. I was at the beginning of the video was saying that one of the challenges is not knowing that if you're looking at when you do all of this on your own, if you're looking at the screen or your makeup is okay or whatever. But that is part of the pride, right? Being proud because even if you don't know and you're not sure, you still do it. All right, I'm looking for the find button, and I found it. All right, don't forget that here on Blind with a Vision, we always have a vision, right? And the vision for today was sharing this topic with you. And yeah, the biggest vision is for Anna right now at this precise moment is for you guys to share with others my video. Love you. Los amo, los amo, los amo. I love you guys.